What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Week 9 NFL Power Rankings. I think we're starting to get a little more clarity here on who the real teams are, who the kind of pretender playoff teams are, who just sucks, and who just doesn't stand a chance. And, I think we've got less movement this week than any other week before. Not to say there isn't a lot of movement to look forward to here, but yeah, I think we're getting a little more clarity as we reach the midway point of the season. Before we hop in, a quick reminder, please do hit that like button if you enjoy the Power Rankings every week. It's the easiest way to support the channel right there. Also, consider using promo code FranchiseGuy on SeatGeek the next time you buy tickets. Nice interface there. That's the program I use to buy my tickets. You're going to save $20 on your next purchase and get the best prices anyway. So definitely go check that out. All right, so here we go. I actually need to say that I am doing these power rankings here on a Monday, and I normally do them on a Tuesday. That is because our number 32 team here, the Miami Dolphins, do play tonight. They play the Steelers, who will be coming in here pretty soon. The Steelers are 14-point favorites. That tells you everything you need to know about the Miami Dolphins. And I do fully expect that the Steelers win that game, so I don't expect a ton of change in what my power rankings would look like should I have done them after the game. Number 31, the Cincinnati Bengals. They tried against the Rams. I don't fully understand why you wouldn't go ahead and trade Geno Atkins and AJ Green at this point. Those could turn into second, third, hell, even first-round picks that you could use to beef up this offensive line and maybe use to package to go get your next quarterback, because it doesn't seem to be Andy Dalton. Hell, call the Bears, see if they're interested in Andy Dalton himself. I would be selling right now. This Bengals team clearly doesn't have it. I don't know if Coach Taylor is the future, because this team has some talent. They should not be a winless team right now. So we do have a tier gap up to the Washington Redskins. This is a scrappy team. They always have been, at least in the last 3 or 4 years. They got a pretty solid defense. They came out and tried their best in Minnesota in a pretty, unwinnable game there for the Redskins. It's now the Dwayne Haskins era, in my opinion. They might go back to Case Keenum. I don't know why. You got to find out what you have in Haskins, because you're going to be picking in the top 5 at worst. You might be looking at a Tua or another quarterback in this draft, and if Haskins isn't the guy, don't you want to find out? All right, next we got the New York Giants. This offense can actually kind of score some points. This defense is by far worse than their offense, but Daniel Jones has absolute Kirk Cousins fumbleitis, and that's just a trait that I don't think is ever going to go away, that lack of pocket presence. So it's a big concern here in New York. It's just not working out. Number 28, the other New York team, the New York Jets. They had their fun beating the Dallas Cowboys, but now this team is just embarrassing themselves. Darnold threw 3 more picks this week. He's got to shake out of this. I still believe he has the talent to turn this thing around and become a legitimate franchise quarterback, but you can't turn the ball over like that. He's got to kind of shake himself out of that. Number 27, the Denver Broncos. They played pretty well against the Colts. I did get a laugh out of Joe Flacco taking shots at the coaching staff for a lack of aggressiveness. It's like, Joe, did you see how you looked against the Chiefs? You really wondering why your coaching staff doesn't trust you on 3rd and 5 with the game on the line? Come on, man. Number 26, the Atlanta Falcons. They can still score some points. Matt Ryan will be back. I did get another laugh looking at the box score, seeing Matt Schaub basically replicating what Matt Ryan has done for the last 2 years, which is just padding his stats in garbage time. You could swap out Schaub and Ryan both on film and in the box score, and it really wouldn't have made much difference here. This defense just, can't swat a fly right now. Number 25, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They play the Titans this week. Those are the 2 hardest teams to predict, in my opinion, on a week-to-week basis, and it was a game that could have gone either way. The offense scored points. The defense didn't play well. They were the Tampa Bay Bucs, so no movement here for Tampa Bay. Number 24, the Pittsburgh Steelers. I fully expect them to control the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. Yes, they have the backup quarterback in there. I think James Conner has a nice night, and the defense probably has a pretty nice night. So they're going to stay put here at number 24. And then we have a tier jump up here to number 23, and this is a big tier cluster here. We talked about earlier, we've got some clarity. There's a chunk of teams in this league that are not easy outs, but they're also teams that probably are not heading to the playoffs. So number 23, the Jacksonville Jaguars, is going to be one of those teams. The defense it's fine. It's not what it was a couple years ago, but they still got some really good players on that side of the ball. Gardner Minshew, pretty solid again this week. It's going to be really interesting when Foles comes back. This is a team that maybe they sneak in as the sixth seed in the AFC. It's pretty unlikely, but they keep on chugging along here. Maybe Foles comes back and is elite or something. It's not going to be predicted by me, but I guess you never know. Number 22, the Cleveland Browns. I'm pretty much done with this team. I say that knowing that I don't overreact too much in any given week in my power rankings or even to a first half of season like this. We know this Browns team has talent, and honestly, by the eye test, they played up to the Patriots. It was the turnovers that killed, but it's the lack of discipline with this team that I just... it's the kind of thing that you expect that at some point it's going to turn around. They're fluky things like penalties and turnovers. But I just don't know. This team is so poorly coached right now. I think Freddie Kitchens is going to be a one-and-done coach. They have the talent, and that's why they're not in that tier we just ran through. But, God, they're, 2-6, and they can't seem to take care of the football, and they seem to have these dumb penalties every week. I don't know if that's ever going to change, at least with Freddie Kitchens as their coach. Number 21, the Arizona Cardinals. They were just absolutely outmanned and outgunned against Drew Brees in New Orleans. I still think this team is competitive. If they were in the AFC, I would still consider them a sneaky wild card prospect here, but it's just not going to happen in the NFC. Still love me some Kyler Murray, but with both their running backs out, they just traded for Kenyon Drake, whatever. It's just not going to happen this year, but the future's bright here for Arizona. The Oakland Raiders at number 20 here. This game pretty much went exactly as I expected. A high-scoring game. Defense just is still an issue here for Oakland, but they can move the ball on offense, and Darren Waller is actually one of the best players in the NFL, as with Josh Jacobs. Number 19, the Tennessee Titans. Gosh, this team, they moved all the way down to 28 a few weeks ago, but I think they should permanently just get a spot at number 20, because that is who the Titans are. Now that they have started rising, I'm sure they'll magically disappoint next week, and I'll be tempted to drop them below 20. I think I might just lock them in at number 20 until they actually get a playoff win or something, because this team is the definition of stagnant, average, whatever. They have some life here with Ryan Tannehill. I love me some Jeffrey Simmons. That's probably the number one sign of optimism for this team, because that gives them another potential elite player there that I think they're lacking. But I'm not going to kid myself here and get too excited about the Titans with Ryan Tannehill. Number 18, the Chicago Bears. Is Mitchell Trubisky the worst starting quarterback in the NFL right now, not accounting for backups that are coming in or guys like Dwayne Haskins or Daniel Jones who are just rookies and stuff? I think you could definitely make a case for it. He just looks lost out there. He's inaccurate more than ever this year. It's been brutal to watch. The defense is trying their best, but this defense has lost energy as well, and they're just not quite the same unit they were last year. So they're still a tough out. They were a field goal away from winning this game and being right back in the mix in the wild card, but I don't know. I just think that when your quarterback is that bad, we saw it with the Jags in 2018, it kind of deflates your entire unit. Number 17, the LA Chargers. Now, they effectively lost this game. The 41-yard field goal was missed by the Bears. They got out-chargered in this game. This reminds me so much of 2 years ago. I loved that Chargers team more than pretty much anyone out there. They ended up going 9-7 and fell short of the wild card, but that team started really bad, and they had a bunch of bad losses early in terms of shooting themselves in the foot, which is what we've seen this year. Now they're getting a little healthier. They should be getting Derwin James back in about a month or so, I would think. I think they're going to stay relevant. If their schedule down the stretch wasn't so hard, I would say this team could sneak into that 9 spot and make things interesting. But I just like 2017. I think it's going to be too little too late. But this win certainly helps. They've got the Packers next week. That's not going to be much easier. Number 16, the Detroit Lions. This team's just competitive. That Monday night loss against Green Bay is really unfortunate, because if they would have won that game when the refs really kind of screwed them over, I do think that they'd be right in the mix for the wild card in the NFC. It's a very competitive football team. No one wants to play the Lions right now, but it's just going to be tough for them to make the playoffs. But they're a good team. Number 15, the Carolina Panthers. This is the beauty of my power rankings. For the last 3 or 4 weeks, Panthers fans have been coming at me. Oh my God, the Panthers are so good. They've got these impressive wins. They've won 3 in a row. Kyle Allen looks sick. How are you so low on them? How do you rank them 16th? Now this week, they get absolutely blown out. But I don't overreact to one win. I recognize that they do have a backup quarterback in there. It was a bad week for them. Other teams had worse weeks, in my opinion. Losing in, the hottest team in the country right now against the Niners on the road with a fan base that's going nuts. Joey Bosa looking like Defensive Player of the Year. It happens, I think this team will respond. They're still a very competitive team. They're going to be a long shot for any kind of playoff seeding. But they're a very middling team, which is more than a lot of teams can say right now. They're above average. Let's just put it that way. So Panthers actually going to slide up a spot this week. This is something I saw in their realm of possibilities, getting blown out in San Francisco. That's why I ranked them 16 in the first place. So number 14 here, the Buffalo Bills. We do have a tier gap up. These next three teams, it's a tier gap up, but these are three teams that I think are playoff teams, but are not teams that I see really going too far in the playoffs. And ironically, they're all AFC teams. So the Buffalo Bills, another team that Bills fans were pissed at me that I did not rank them in the top 10. Look, I love Josh Allen. I was huge on him coming out, but he's just inconsistent. The offense just can't light it up with some of these other teams out there. The defense is awesome. Don't get me wrong. But they lost to the Eagles this week, and that's another kind of thing that was in their realm of possibilities against a much more explosive offense. So really good team. They're going to make the playoffs. But they're just not a serious contender in my eyes at the moment. Not with the offense in the state that it's currently in. Number 13, the Indianapolis Colts. Yet another team that people thought I was too low on. They come out and barely beat the lowly Denver Broncos. This is why I'm lower on the Colts. Really good team. They can play up to anybody. They can go and beat the Chiefs. They could even beat the Patriots because they keep the score down. They take care of the football, but they're not explosive on either side of the ball. It's a really good defense, but it's a defense that's led by good coaching, discipline, but a lack of star power. And then again, on offense, you can say the same thing. They're kind of like the Titans in that way, but they're way better coached, and I just believe in them a little more. But yeah, the Colts, solid team. They're probably headed to the playoffs. Probably going to either be the wild card or win that division. But I don't see them really, going too far in the playoffs. Same thing about the Baltimore Ravens here at 12. They were on bye this week. I think they play the Patriots either next week or the week after that. That's going to be awesome to see, how legit is this team. The win in Seattle was obviously big. They are 5-2. Again, the offensive ceiling a little bit lower. They don't have a high volume passing game. Better teams are going to be able to figure out how to shut down that run, and we haven't seen Lamar be able to counter with an explosive passing attack, and then the defense is just really solid. So we got a tier gap up here into the top 11, and the Philadelphia Eagles here are going to make that tier here. And this tier are teams that I can actually envision winning a Super Bowl because they have a certain upside to them. The Eagles, we know about that upside. I rank them number 1 to start the year. Now, this reminds me a lot of last year. Come out, start slow. Defense has a lot of huge struggles, again, right in the secondary. But Ronald Darby was pretty good this week. This team is bouncing back. And I talked about this on the podcast last week. Quick plug, go check out the Fully Inflated Football podcast. I'll be recording it after these power rankings. But looking down the stretch, the Eagles and then the Cowboys here, who I do rank 10th, I think these teams are going to be playing for the division in Week 16. I really, expected the Eagles to bounce back. I picked them to win this week, holding true with this team that I think the talent is absolutely there. I believe in Carson Wentz. So they got to, keep this momentum going. And we know this team, if they can get hot, as we saw a couple years ago, they can make some serious damage. And then, the Cowboys here at number 10. They're really solid. They're really balanced. I don't see Dak as a super high upside quarterback, but they do have a lot of good pieces on offense, and that defense has a pretty high upside as well. Number 9, the Houston Texans. A big win this week. Deshaun Watson has been awesome. He's right there with the top MVP candidates. But man, the J.J. Watt injury, I had him as a top defensive player of the year candidate. He goes down for the season. That's really going to hurt. I think he opens up a lot for this team. I think that pass rush was really helping this defense out because their secondary just isn't any good. So I think this defense is going to turn into one of the worst in the NFL right now. That's going to put a lot of pressure on Deshaun Watson. I think he can handle some of it, but it's going to be really hard for him to go and beat like the Chiefs and the Patriots in the playoffs. I still believe in this team, but that's a big reason why you don't go and trade your entire draft for a couple players to win right now. especially when the Patriots are as good as they are. It just, I think this is all going to kind of backfire in the long run, but it's still going to be a fun, explosive team to watch this season. Number 8, the LA Rams. They've kind of bounced back here. The offensive line's playing much better. Goff, hit or miss, but this offense is really rolling right now. The defense with Jalen Ramsey's been a lot better, so I like the Rams' kind of momentum right now. They're starting to get more into that scary territory. A team that if they keep playing like this over a 4-week stretch could get back in that conversation with the top teams in the NFC. Then the Seattle Seahawks at number 7. Just, another big win on the road, but it was against Matt Schaub. Not a whole lot of takeaways from Seattle in this one. Minnesota Vikings, again, they dominated the Redskins at home, no surprise. I still want to see this team go on the road against an elite pass rush and show that this offensive line can play like it has. I still got some concerns in there, but they are playing much better up front. Then we got the San Francisco 49ers at 5. This has become a hot topic here. I've been now defending myself against 49ers fans, which I never in my wildest dreams imagined I would have to do. After in January, I said this was the best bet to win the Super Bowl this year, was the 49ers at 45-1. So I shouldn't have to defend myself as someone that doesn't hate the 49ers. I've stood up for Jimmy Garoppolo for years, so I'm thrilled to see them playing like this. Yet I have to sit here and damper my expectations rather for this Niners team. Yes, they blew out the backup quarterback-led Panthers. But I saw on Twitter the other day, this 49ers team has beat 3 NFL juggernauts. Who? The Browns, the Rams at their bottom, and the Panthers this week? Come on, this offense is awesome. They run the ball. Kyle Shanahan just might be the best offensive play caller in the NFL. But gosh, I can't do it ahead of the 4 teams ahead of them who have much better resumes. I love the Niners. I have them ranked in the top tier here and absolutely see them as a Super Bowl contender. Nick Bosa is my pick for defensive MVP. The beauty is we're going to see them play the Packers here in a few weeks, ranked to number 4. That's going to be a power matchup. That's going to decide a lot of things in the NFC. The Packers here, I do have concerns about that defense. Blake Martinez does not belong anywhere near, let alone a Division I field, but an NFL field. He just looks like he's playing at a different speed than everyone else, and I don't mean that in a good way. The Packers defense is going to have a certain low floor as long as he is commanding the middle of the field. He's an absolute liability. As for the rest of this team, this offense is exploding onto the scene. They're getting used to this new scheme, which is really impressive considering they're doing it without their only good wide receiver. So getting Devontae Adams is really going to help this team. But man, they got to get Blake Martinez off the field. Number 3, the Kansas City Chiefs. People don't like that I rank a team that has an injured quarterback in the top 4. They're not going to like that I rank a team ahead of the Packers, who they just lost to in their own stadium. Look, I think Patrick Mahomes is going to be back this week against the Vikings. And this team played a hell of a lot better than I expected against the Packers with Matt Moore. That's exactly, shows why I rank this team in the top 3. Andy Reid and these playmakers, at some point, it doesn't actually matter who you have in quarterback. They're going to have throwing lanes to put up some points. Now, they just ran into Aaron Rodgers being Aaron Rodgers, but this team is an absolute Super Bowl contender. They're going to keep getting healthier here as we get down the stretch. I think they're going to be right there with the Patriots, who, by the way, are dropping a spot this week here at number 2. They are the best team in the AFC. Absolutely. They have the best coach in the NFL. They have a top 10 quarterback, but they just haven't passed the eye test to me. They've played a bunch of D1 AA teams. If the NFL is D1, they've played a bunch of South Dakota States and Appalachian State, although they're actually D1 now. But, they're going to have to prove their mettle here. The offense has not impressed me. I don't think Mohamed Sanu opens up the offense per se. He's a nice piece. And the defense is really, really good. And they're obviously a top 3 defense, but I actually think the team that I rank number 1 here might have a better defense, and that's the New Orleans Saints. This Saints team is unbelievable. Getting Drew Brees back this week, it just shows you how high this team's upside is. Their ability to milk this window out, especially after 2 devastating playoff losses, really impresses me. The front office, Sean Payton, I give everyone a lot of credit here. This is the only team in the NFL right now that I consider to have both a top 10 offense and a top 10 defense. Maybe the 49ers. I don't know for sure if that offense is top 10, but man, this team just can beat you in so many different ways. It's time. I think they are better than the New England Patriots. Man, I just am so impressed with what the Saints are doing. So those are the power rankings this week. Again, guys, please do hit that like button. Excited to see the comments as always. I'm sure everyone will be extremely respectful and not insult anyone this week as usual. So cheers, everyone. We'll see you for the next one.